Hey guys, welcome back for another video. Today I've got a little more involved one than I usually do. I'm not only going to go through the new Pelsee S3 Ultra, but I'm going to compare it against something else you might be considering, the Rove R2. Really similar price points. We're going to go through the features and most importantly, throw both on the car simultaneously, and then we can directly compare footage and simply see, let's see what looks better. Lots of protective film. I'll wait until I get in the car to take it all off. Got the main lens here. Got a very large 3.4-inch touchscreen. I'm excited to see how that looks in the car. Beautiful looking unit. Very techy, very modern. We've got a card slot here on the right-hand side. Power and rear camera connection here on the actual mount. And then a power button on the left-hand side. Speaker on the bottom and the microphone on the bottom. It looks like a reset port there, which you hit with a little pin. I see some smudge left there from the protective film. So make sure you hit that with a cloth to clean it off before you install. Same with the rear cameras, that's better. And speaking of rear cameras, here it is. It's the tube type, so we can rotate this to whatever position we need. Sticks on the glass there. Now, one thing I'm curious about between these two are the rear camera quality. They're both 4K front. However, this is a slight bump up to 2.5K on the rear. Rears typically suffer compared to the fronts and dash cams, both for the actual camera quality and for the processing priority. So it'll be interesting to see how they compare front to rear and unit to unit. Next up, we have the long cable. This looks like the rear camera. We've got a proprietary to a USB-C. Lots of power options for the Pelsee. Here is our power connector to the unit itself. Again, USB-C to a USB-A. It is a 90-degree plug, so it's going to keep your cable nice and tight. Now, if your car has a dedicated USB port, mine does, you can simply plug into that. Use any adapter you like. If you don't have one, here, they give you one. It's got USB-A and C, so you can plug this into a standard 12-volt socket and get yourself not only power for your dash cam, but an extra USB port. They give you a spudger for just easing your wires through your trim panels for install, making it clean, and actually a nice little screwdriver here. A little bigger than the typical. And then something pretty unique. I have not seen this before. We have a power adapter that also gives you parking control. No need to buy an extra parking mode cable that plugs directly into your OBD2 port. That is fantastic. No longer do you have to go into the fuse socket. This is just going to use the ground and power ports in your diagnostic port. Nice and flush, nice flat cable. They've really thought about how to hide this to make it look completely stock, and then it runs directly to your unit. This is a fantastic idea. And for everybody that needs coverage while your car is off, that's what parking mode does. It protects against draining your battery. It's going to be monitoring your voltage, so it doesn't drain your battery to prevent your car from starting, but it'll give you a ton of time from the point you turn the car off until the next time you turn it on. If something happens, it has that captured. Now, it's not rolling the whole time and recording, it's monitoring and observing. So it has a big buffer. So when something happens, like somebody hits your car, it saves the prior to the accident point and then lays it down to your card. So it's incredibly useful to anybody that parks in a public space. I work from home, so it's not needed for me, but I'm definitely going to be trying it here. And then they give you some nice organizational clips just to route your wire and make it look pretty. And lots of decals, plus a high-speed 128 gig memory card, which is enough for a good week on average, I would estimate. Of course, it depends on how much you drive and how much it's recording, but 128 gigs is what I suggest to people right now. If you're getting something with 2 high-resolution cams, it's going to be using a lot of space, and this just gives you that days of working time. So you don't have to worry. If you notice something and it's been a few days since it happened, you've got it. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I better make sure that I get everything off the card within a day or two if you're only using a small card. You could miss stuff very easily. And also in the bag are the simple instructions for how to install things, how to plug things in, free warranty extension if you want to register your device, and the full user's manual. Now this also has a new feature, advanced driver assistance systems. It says it can help perceive the world in front of the vehicle and then provide information to the driver. However, the function is only for assistance, not a substitute for your driving judgment. And then it goes through how to calibrate it. So it's obviously a visual only system, gives you forward collision warning. So if you're coming up to a car and say they're slowing down or parked and it thinks you're going to crash, it's going to give you a warning. Something a lot of freaking people need around here, vehicle starts warning. So if you're sitting at a light and the car goes in front of you and you're sitting there on your phone, it's going to go, hey, dummy, wake up, go. Also has lane departure warning. So obviously these features are very handy for older vehicles that don't have all of these built in. They've only been common in vehicles for like the last 7, 8 years. And then it has a feature that, frankly, I'm not going to test, but a pedestrian collision warning. It says if the distance between your vehicle and the pedestrian is too short, the dash cam will warn you of a potential collision. So pretty much like a car. Let's unbox the Rove real quick. So inside here, oh, it's kind of cool. It's like a cigar box. We have also a 128 gig card, full user's manual book, troubleshooting guide, register for more warranty, troubleshooting guide, app install, contest, stickers, standard stuff. And we have the unit itself. Definitely more traditional shaped here. Got our camera on the rear. Make sure he's nice and clean as well. There we go. So we've got a microphone on the front, speaker slots and cooling slots on the rear and front. Got a connection on the top, probably for the rear cam. Yep, says rear cam only for the top connector. Kind of looks like a cold shoe on the top here. That's probably for the mount. GPS built in. Large screen on the back. I don't know if it's touch screen yet. 5 hard buttons along the bottom. So that leads me to believe it's probably not a touch screen. Just standard clicky plastic buttons. Power on the left, card slot on the left with an indicator light. Power connection on the right. So you're going to have your cables coming off the right-hand side and top on this particular model, and a reset button on the bottom along with another mic port. For power options, we also have a 12-volt USB-C and A adapter, and the window mount itself, kind of like a GoPro type adapter, pretty thin feeling plastic with teeth for a ratcheting type install, and you just lock it down into one of the positions. It's just got some tension on the other rotatable end. So this is going to just slide into the slot here, like so, and then you just attach it and aim it, and it hangs down from your window. So not exactly a stealth install, but it'll work. And we've got the rear cam. This is funny because it's huge. It's bigger than the other one, but it weighs almost nothing. It's all air. Got our sticky mount here. Not sure why it's so big. Now this one has a bit of a ratchet to the twist, but the same idea. So you can stick this to your glass and rotate this wherever you need. Got a indicator light on the one end and power and connection back to the main cam on the other. And we'll make sure to remove and clean that lens as well. I'm looking for an up indicator on this, and there doesn't seem to be one. So I'm going to have to be careful to read the instructions and stick this the correct way. Now, sometimes in the app, they'll give you the option to flip the picture, but not all of them. I've run into that as well. And then we also have an optional suction cup mount. So if you don't want to permanently install it to your window, you can use this instead. In the next box, we've got some clips again for keeping things tidy, a spudger for getting in your trim. We've got the main power cable, again, USB-C 90 degree to USB-A port, and a very long cable for the rear cam, and it's just USB-C to C, and some alcohol wipes. And then we also have a very nice touch, actually, especially here in Florida, a polarizing lens filter for the main camera, just the front, but this dramatically helps glare off your windscreen in bright sunny spaces. Not everyone needs it, but it doesn't hurt anything. I always suggest these. If it's available for your dash cam, always purchase one if it doesn't come with it already. It does make a big difference in some circumstances. So I'll definitely install that on the lens as well. All right, now I'm going to install both of these in the car, and we'll see which one looks the best. All right, got both cams mounted here. Pelsee, totally normal, rock solid, like that design. Fits nice and tight up to the windscreen. Not really a fan of the mounting system of the Rove. I'm not talking about the suction cup. That's actually really good. This is rock solid. It's got this simple lock and unlock ring for the suction itself, and it is very secure, clicks into place. That's really nice. It's the joint past that's the issue. There's tons of slop. All you can lock down is this swivel part here, I should say tilt, where it rocks the whole thing forward or back. Then you've got just so much slop in the plastic and the way it fits that it never really stays still. So you're going to have some vibration. Also, you can't position it in any position because it's on detents. So you can't get it precisely at any of the angles that you need. And that goes for the suction cup or the adhesive. They're both exactly the same. Just starting to go through initial setup, and right away, it's not a big deal to everybody, but having a touchscreen is so much easier, faster, and more intuitive than what seems like 10-year-old technology, having to go through buttons and match what's on a screen. Do I go left? Do I go right? What button maps to what? It's just annoying. This is just the way it's supposed to work. All right, I got everything set up, got them aimed as evenly as I can. There's a slight field of view difference, but it's going to be perfectly fine for this review. Both were fully updated as far as firmware out of the box, nothing needed there. I have the settings as equal as possible. Every option that they both have is turned on for maximum quality. And really, there isn't much to do in the Pelsee. It's very light on features to customize things. And this actually has a ton of stuff. All the important stuff is on by default. So basically, they are as good as they can get out of the box. Let's go for a ride. Let's test the audio. Front cam, rear cam. We've got plenty of daylight right now, and then I'll wrap it up tonight with nighttime. Now, one note, the Rove does have two video modes. Standard is what it's on now. It has a clarity mode, which is supposed to give you better sharpness and contrast at the expense of color and low light. So absolutely no good at night. I'm leaving it in standard, apples to apples. All right, so this is going to be a best case scenario. Got my HVAC completely off. It's a very quiet car. We've got some mixed lighting here. We're going to see how both do in shadows and bright light. This is a little route I like to take with a lot of dash cams that I test. Bright Florida sun. This is where the HDR is going to make or break any camera. Now, some are great out of the box and they don't need a separate option. And frankly, if it has an option, it should never be off. And of course, we're testing the audio in both as well. I'm going to get close to this car up front, and we'll see how easily we can read the plate. I'm about 5 car lengths behind right now, about 4, about 3, and about 2. It's as close as I'm going to get until we come to a stop. Now, by eye, I can easily read a plate in the daytime at least, about 4 or 5 back. At night, maybe 2. But in an accident, it really only matters really up close. So let's get right up to them there. Both should easily be able to have read that. We've got some mixed lighting here. We're going to see how both do in shadows and bright light. This is a little route I like to take with a lot of dash cams that I test. Bright Florida sun. This is where the HDR is going to make or break any camera. Now, some are great out of the box and they don't need a separate option. And frankly, if it has an option, it should never be off. And of course, we're testing the audio in both as well. I'm going to get close to this car up front and we'll see how easily we can read the plate. I'm about 5 car lengths behind right now, about 4, about 3, and about 2. It's as close as I'm going to get until we come to a stop. Now, by eye, I can easily read a plate in the daytime at least, about 4 or 5 back. At night, maybe 2. But in an accident, it really only matters really up close. So let's get right up. Now, by eye, I can easily read a plate in the daytime at least, about 4 or 5 back. At night, maybe 2. Let's check out the rear cam quality. Now, of course, both rear cams are both mounted next to each other right in the center of my rear window. And I won't know until I get back in editing which one has the better audio, so I'm just going to switch the audio over to whichever one it is at the moment. Let's check out the rear cam quality. Now, of course, both rear cams are both mounted next to each other right in the center of my rear window. There's our daytime example footage. Now we'll come back after nightfall and check out the low light performance. All right, let's take it out at night. One thing also to note, the startup time is a lot faster on the Pelsee. It's actually recording about 2 to 3 seconds once it gets power, and this took about 10. It is very noticeable. As far as screen quality goes, both look excellent. Both are very high res. Obviously, you see a little bit more on the traditional frame of the Rove. Now, I can't judge the footage yet, but looking at the screens really quickly, I'm trying not to do so while I'm driving, but before I get into traffic at least, they both look excellent. See how it handles mixed bright scenes? I'll go into a brightly lit parking lot. And of course, check out what the rear cams look like in various lighting conditions as well. And both have the options to overlay all the various data like speed and GPS, etc. on your videos or not. So this is a very bright parking lot, very easy to walk around in, and we should see the best quality possible for any kind of night footage, because this is effectively a dusk scene. See how close we can get to read this plate, about 3 car lengths, 2 car lengths, and right up to it. Now, I can't judge the footage yet, but looking at the screens really quickly, I'm trying not to do so while I'm driving, but before I get into traffic at least, they both look excellent. See how it handles mixed bright scenes? I'll go into a brightly lit parking lot. And of course, check out what the rear cams look like in various lighting conditions as well. And both have the options to overlay all the various data like speed and GPS, etc. on your videos or not. So this is a very bright parking lot, very easy to walk around in, and we should see the best quality possible for any kind of night footage, because this is effectively a dusk scene. See how close we can get to read this plate, about 3 car lengths, 2 car lengths, and right up to it. See how close we can get to read this plate, about 3 car lengths, 2 car lengths, and right up to it. So now I'm going to go pop out these cards, check out the footage and editing, and give you my final thoughts. We'll see which one wins. So we're wrapping this up. Now, after seeing all the footage, daytime, nighttime, the audio, all of that, it is frankly an easy win, and I think everyone's going to agree it's going to be the Pelsee. Daytime, I was looking at both, and you know what? They are really similar in bright sunlight. And then the nighttime footage came, and it's not even in the same ballpark. So there you go. Hope this helps, guys. I'll put any discount code that I can find for you down below, and we'll see you next time.